Hey everyone, and welcome to another video. So today I'm going to be actually reviewing House of the Dragon episodes 2 and 3 in the same video. So let's get started with my thoughts on episode 2. We watched episodes 2 and 3 back to back, so I may get a few details mixed up between the two. But basically, let's get right into this. So essentially, the events that happened at the end of the last episode created this whole circumstance that stirred up a bunch of issues that is not only going to probably further the war and the conflict and everything, but it started a lot of drama. I'm trying to avoid spoilers here, but mistakes were made. I'll just say Daemon Targaryen made a huge mistake, and I thought it was very dumb last episode, but that makes for good content and good drama, so it's not dumb in the sense like that I didn't like the writing. It's dumb his character did something really stupid. But it causes a lot of drama. The immediate aftermath of that and like what happens as a result of that is really, really bad for Rhaenyra. It causes Rhaenyra and Daemon to get into this huge fight that was gut-wrenching. It really hurt my heart. And it kind of like, it could potentially be really bad for Rhaenyra. So there's a lot of like drama that is stirred up because of it. I'm trying to think of what else happens. It was really sad, and it's just like pretty typical Game of Thrones though. Even though I'm not overly fond of the High Towers, I don't like Aemond. I definitely don't like Aemond, I mean. I don't like Aegon either. So, but it's still kind of like just sad what happens and everything. So Daemon and Rhaenyra get into this huge fight, which is gut-wrenching because I really, really ship them. And he gets really mad, and I'm a little worried about what he's going off to do and whether he's still going to be with her or against her. So that's kind of up in the air. And I'm trying not to do spoilers about that. So honestly, for me, this was another 5-star episode. Like, it was just really, really intense drama all the way around because of everything happening. So that's pretty much my thoughts on episode 2. I don't know why my thoughts are so short, but honestly, it was just really, really good drama. Episode 3 for me was really, really good, even like better. Not necessarily better, but just the opening sequence starts off with these people arguing, and it's really interesting. Like, they're young kids, they're kind of stupid, and then it scene cuts, and it kind of like one of them pulls out a sword, and it scene cuts to this battlefield, and one of them's dead, and it's just this battlefield of just dead people. And so I know that, like, obviously Game of Thrones, Westeros, House of the Dragon, the whole universe is fictional, but it has a lot of like medieval stuff in it that's kind of like almost true to history and how things were back in medieval times, because the idea of just some peasants, some guards on this field just getting into an argument and that resulting in a war and that having catastrophic effects for like the lands and everything around it is so true and accurate. The effects of episode 2, actually, scratch that. More thoughts on episode 2. This is why I combined both episodes, because I knew I was going to get stuff mixed up. So fast forward back to episode 2. The events that took place, the mistake that Daemon made, causes the people in King's Landing to react a certain way, and that causes one of the Kingsguard guy, I can't remember his name, he sends the twin off to go do a mission. So the twin, which, by the way, I wanted to do like I wanted to have a thought here on how the Acolyte tried to do the whole twins on opposite sides thing, and then the twins switching places. They epically failed at it, and they need to take notes from House of the Dragon, because House of the Dragon pulled it off absolutely perfectly. It was gut-wrenching to watch. It was so hard to watch the twins fight, and you could feel the grief. Like, they didn't want to fight each other, but they were just on opposite sides in this conflict, and it was so sad to watch. So fast forward back to episode 3, the aftermath of that fight. I'm not going to talk about it, but Rhaenyra is talking with her aunt, and her aunt has this really epic speech on how
have taken the bit in their teeth they wish to punish, to avenge. Soon they will not even remember what it was that began the war in the first place.
That is easy enough. They usurped my throne.
That is one answer. Or was it when the child was beheaded? Or when Aemond killed Luke? Or when Luke took Aemond's eye? We teeter now at the point where none of it will matter. when the desire to kill and burn takes hold and reason is forgotten.
War is inevitable. Everybody's going to be fighting, and they're not even going to remember what they're fighting about. You know, was it really when they usurped your throne? Is that when the conflict started? Was it when, you know, Aemond killed Luke? Was it when Daemon's mistake was made? Was it before that, whenever this happened? And so she had a really good point that, again, was kind of true to history, even though this is a fictional story, where a lot of times wars were started over things, and people and clans and different sides fight, and then they don't even remember what started the fight in the first place. That detail's lost to history, and at that point it's just about fighting. And it's just such a good speech. Like, and then she went on to talk about how dragons fighting basically is not good. It was just such an epic speech. I loved it so much. So Daemon going off and doing his own thing. I think he's in what is the place called? Not Hightower. I know the place, but he's at this place and he's accepted, and it seems like it's in a state of disrepair and stuff, and he's kind of having a dream hallucination that implies he's actually feeling guilty about his mistake, and he should. And then Rhaenyra decides to send off her youngest boys with Daemon's youngest daughter. I don't know her name. And they're sending the young dragons with her too. So I have a really bad feeling about that, but she decides to do that. And then there's this, I can't spoil it, but there's this mission that Rhaenyra goes on that creates this really good moment between her and another character that I can't spoil for you. And they finally talk about something that happened in season 1 that needed to get talked about and needed to get outed. It is absolutely not going to have an impact on the plot or anything happening, and it's not going to stop the war, but it needed to be talked about. So that was an amazing moment as well. So honestly, even though I said that episode 2 was a 5-star episode, this one was even better than episode 2. But so I would say this is another 5-star episode, but just better, so like 6 stars. The only problem with this episode was that there was a really bad nudity. We skipped over this entire whole scene that wasn't necessary. It was completely just thrown in there. Honestly, I just hate it. We skipped over the entire sequence because I knew I had a feeling something was coming, but it was really bad. So for me, that makes me want to dock it a star, but everything else was like really good. So overall, my thoughts on House of the Dragon episodes 2 and episode 3 is that they're really good. The political stuff is good, and it really shines a light on the horrible writing of the Acolyte. Like, it is the difference between night and day, like the writing between House of the Dragon and the writing between the Acolyte. And it doesn't help the Acolyte that they also tried to do a twinsy switch and have this whole confrontation between the twins, and the twins being on opposite sides. House of the Dragon did it so much better, like so much better. Like, it's on a whole nother level compared to the Acolyte. So when I, on my reviews of The Acolyte, which I'll pop up the first one here and you guys can go watch them if you're curious about that, but on my thoughts on all of that, when I grade that, if I say this episode of The Acolyte is a 3-star episode, I'm talking this is a whole different scale than the House of the Dragon episodes, because the writing is just so different, and the dialogue in House of the Dragon is so good. They actually sound like they are in a fantasy world, in a fictional world, in a different time period. It's the dialogue is so good in House of the Dragon, and I can hear such a difference in not only the writing, the world building, the race building, the plot line, the political scheming, the stories, the character development, all of that, but also the dialogue is so horrible in The Acolyte when you compare it to House of the Dragon. So like I said, overall, both of these are 5-star episodes. I really wish they didn't have the nudity in episode 3. That was pretty bad, so we skipped over it. It was just not necessary at all. But really good drama. Love both episodes. What do you guys think of the House of the Dragon episodes 2 and 3 and the whole show as a whole? Let me know in the comments below. And if you liked this video, please be sure to give it a like and subscribe for more writing and reading videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And in the meantime, if you like my review of House of the Dragon episodes 2 and 3, then check out my review of episode 4. It should be up by the time you guys are watching this as a premiere or already up. So check that out. You don't want to miss it. The show is so good. I'm sure I'm going to have a lot of thoughts about that.